I made multiple bases in the past couple months in GIF to make the server safer for everyone, from the tallest base to even the biggest and longest base in GIF. But then I had a crazy idea. I asked for people to tell me what to build so I can challenge myself. With all the training I've done, it was finally time to see what I can do. As soon as I spawned in to build a city, a horde of smilers busted in and took my manhood. That's when I knew this was a right server that needed my saving. After quickly gathering supplies, I told everyone to meet me at the watchtower. Ivan told me to build a city, and Leno said to build a lighthouse since my brain is too small. Wait, I know my IQ is a 30, but I was the smartest kid in special ed. Asshole. Since a city always has a hotel, the watchtower was the perfect place to start. With no time to waste, I started boarding up the windows so a horde of GIFs don't have a free meal. When night started, I tried my best to finish it as fast as a man after learning his girl was with a child. But I wasn't quick enough as munchers took everything I had like my wife did after our divorce. Before I continued building, I told my subs to make sure Big Gaff doesn't destroy their building or it will reset along with the planks. I wasn't planning on spending 11 hours again in Gaff, and they weren't either. Even though I didn't ask them to join, they still wanted to help and I'm grateful for it. Without them, the game wouldn't be fun. Now that the windows are boarded, I decided to use smaller planks since Gaffs can only tear one at a time, making sure that every inch was covered in case Daddy Gaff came. Since the tower is massive, building by myself was necessary to prevent others from summoning him, which would take longer, sure, but while I handled my side of the city, the others were working on theirs. At least I didn't have to face a swarm of booty crunchers. After defending myself, I spent the night building. Well, technically I'm going to build every second I get, but since my whole recording is mainly building, it would be boring if I didn't add some spice to it. And since some of you want me to make longer GIF videos, I'm gonna have to talk about random crap. If I was actually building like this in real life, my hand would have been obliterated. Without it, who's going to use the tissues and lotion I have stored up? No one, and it would just go to waste. For the rest of the day, I focused on securing the roof. When the registered offender Gaff comes, he won't be able to attack from the roof easily. That's why my plan was to cover the whole tower and make 2 separate floors, kind of like a camp with a storage room for items above. Since it was night, I decided to camp upstairs while I killed the wrong turn hillbillies. The others said people were hiding in the bases even though Big Gaff was chasing them. I don't know why people can't just off themselves when their supplies would still be there, or at least run from Gaff, which I did later. Covering the gaps between beams wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. For the longer gaps, I would just have to carefully stretch the planks. Ping, Cork, and XX came to help me fill the gaps, but they weren't the only ones. Leandre and the others slowly started joining my quest. With one side completed, I decided to make a hut for us in order to prevent Gaffs from attacking the tower itself. But since there wasn't enough time, I had to fend off the crackheads. Luckily, I just had enough planks to block them. That's when I realized people were sheltering upstairs, which is a huge problem because everyone is too much of a bitch to take one for the team when Big D Gaff shows up. I'm sorry for those who wanted me to stop swearing, but this is how I feel when I spend hours on something just for it to get ruined by others who couldn't do something simple. Anyways, now that it was light outside, it was time for me to build the shelter. Plushie joined in on the project, and for some reason I lost a hammer. Once I found it, I continued building. It was getting pretty big and I was confident it would protect us. That's what I thought until the Gaffs got in. While everyone went upstairs again, I studied the flaws of my hut and learned it was too tall. So I started making it longer and lower, just small enough for us to fit. Then there was Queso, who turned out to be a terrible player later. Even though I clearly stated we were to stay down here to prevent Gaff from damaging the tower, that jaundiced ass player kept messing up our progress and later would be banned. But anyways, once we completed the shelter, a swarm of smilers wanted to play with our planks. Thankfully, we made it difficult to get in, and when we were done killing our own Gaffs, it was easier to finish off the rest on top, because each one targets a certain player, ignoring the rest. Day 7 was just me acting like a fool, and nighttime was a disaster. I mean, look how many Gaffs there are. Since I revived, I decided to take care of them one swing at a time. Unknown to me, it was just going to get a lot worse from here. Queso basically sabotaged sabotaged the storage room with a plank and refused to apologize. So I banned him. I expected randos to do this, but my own subscriber? Nah, not this time. It wasn't just for me, but for the others who worked hard to build the city. This whole challenge was going to take over 3 hours to do, so if you join us, please show some respect. Now that it was dark, we all gathered in the hut, waiting for the carnage to come, which it did, and I had Uncle Ben chasing me in another Clovis game of tag. I wasn't lying about what I said. If you see run, get away from the base. I would rather have white sticky stuff all over me than my whole team taking it up the manhole. I was able to hold him off and use the trees to defend me. He knocked him down after each thrust, begging me to let him in, but I knew his sick perverted plans for me. It wasn't even him that got me, it was his son Timmy, hitting me from the back and biting me like a cucumber. I succumbed to the injuries and died. In case y'all are wondering, this isn't a private server. Our builds will help those who join in the future cause everyone deserves a better experience. Well, hopefully this city will survive. Sometimes the planks will despawn randomly or when a house resets. I hope the devs hear this and fix it. We aren't the only ones that make builds like this. There are servers I joined that people spent a lot of time building bases. Besides, it would be fun to see the whole map covered in planks. That's if they fix it. Anyways, Big F was attacking our hut, which meant someone had run and was refusing to leave. I asked him to leave, but no one left. Later, I figured out it was Jimmy since she kept getting followed by him. The base was getting so close to being done, and if our time and effort was ruined, of course I'll be mad. I mean, who wouldn't? Then the next night, someone led Big Geff under the tower, after everything I just said, and now part of the tower was destroyed. So we all went to the town to make multiple bases. We quickly covered the houses as much as possible and killed Geffs who got in the way. I wasn't going to let anything stop me from building this damn city. When day 13 started, we were almost done getting one thick base done, and stopped any Geffs from ruining our progress. Day 14, I started on the next building while they built a second floor for the other one. Since I wanted to make it quicker, I decided to connect two of them at the same time. Before I continued, I quickly told them to stay away from the base when Creepy Joe is after them, or go to the base that's surrounded with planks. I said it loud and clear because our watchtower reset it along with our planks, which I knew would happen. Then we spent day 15 fortifying the bases, which we had done a lot, even building a bridge to connect the second floors. Then when I got in run, I ran to the forest. This time I was ready to win and be the one to come this time. So I met Pedo Man in the forest. He gotten so mad because he couldn't touch me again. My silky smooth skin was all he yearned for. Even Angel joined me to give me support and mock him for his failures, which proved to be too much for Uncle Ben, and he fled while being embarrassed that he wasn't able to kill the ones who saw his horrific ass face that even his mother didn't love. Day 17, we were almost done with the third base, so I decided to work on the fourth and fifth base. This was going to be a community that can be traveled through safely, but then I got game banged by Geffs. Eventually, I worked on the front by making a fence of planks. If people are going to live here, they will need a secured entrance. Then Geffs wanted sloppy seconds. Fortunately, I have a team of awesome players to protect me. I was so happy to see all of our progress bear fruit as a massive tree of hope, and we were stacked with supplies in each base. Since I was excited, I bullied a Geff and beat the hell out of him. That night, I don't know had Daddy Geff after him, so we told him to leave the base and sacrifice himself, which he did. Luckily, only the next door house was destroyed. When I died, my body was glitching like crazy. I didn't know my body can bend in so many different ways and angles. Then I became a Geff so you can see our bases in a better view. Jason Voorhees tried to smash me to pieces by giving me head, but he failed again. It was time for me to build a mini tent as there would be one in the woods. Next night, I defended the others and figured out someone let Big Geff destroyed part of the base. I was so tired of the bullcrap. Luckily, it doesn't reset, so I continued building the small tent. The roof was surprisingly harder to fortify since the roof was slanted. When the roof was done, I was killed and never found again. Once there was no wall exposed, I made a tunnel for an entrance, which protected me for the night. When Mulag told me he built a treehouse, I was shocked to learn it was true. Bro made something beautiful and connected it to the buildings. I knew this city was going to be passed on for a long time. It was finally time to build another base. With everything we've built, I was glad I had such a great community to build with. Surprisingly, we were able to get most of it done and started building a second floor before night fell. And of course, Big Geff and Little Geffs wanted to ruin our fun, but they failed to get through. I showed no mercy. But since someone let Big Gef attack a base before it was done, it resetted and the planks despawned. So we worked on it again, and this time with Hayes' help. Unfortunately, we couldn't build an actual city, so I hope the devs will fix the despawning of planks. Once they do, I will make the biggest city and surround it with a dome. If you would like to see my journey and what we built in the past, click on the Gef videos on the screen. It took a long time to get where we are at now, and I hope to see you in the next video and see what we can accomplish. Love you all and have a great fucking life.